Hi guys, welcome to my 10,000 3-point shot documentary, where I'm going to be telling you the story of my summer project for 10,000 3-point shots. Let's get into it. Okay. So this summer, before the summer started, I decided my dad actually challenged me and my friend Carter to do 4,000 3-point shots. Not make him, just shoot him. Just so we can get more comfortable with our threes and all of that. So we decided, sure, and he'd give us $50. Now, I started shooting my very, very first shot. Here's how I do it. I do the left corner, then the left wing, then the top, then the left or the right wing, and then the right corner. And I do 20 from each spot. I do sets of 100. I started off, just did 100 a day. To get to 4,000, I did the math. It was going to be something like that. And first rack, first 20, 3. I only got 3. But from there, I only got better. My first thing, I got 30%, 30 out of 100. And then I went up. I got up from 30%. I got to 37. And then 41. And then 44. And then back down to 41, 44, 48, and then 54. I had finally broken over 50 in only 7 tries. So I was really hitting some shots, and I was feeling comfortable, and I was only at 700, 800. And eventually, first month, June, I got my 4,000 done, and I was feeling pretty good. And it's like, okay. But July would have been a different story. Coming into July, I was done at my 4,000, but I'm like, I can make 10,000. So I decided to try that. Now, I had to switch from 100 a day to more than 100 a day, 200, 300. I kind of started doing that in June before I made 4,000, just so I can get there quicker. But I was shooting 200 a day, 300 a day down at my park and making 50-60%, doing good. And then I went on a trip for a week. We went to the Smoky Mountain National Park, and that kind of set me back for a couple days. I think I dropped to 40% sometimes, and I wasn't shooting as well. But then I got back up. After a few days of some struggle, getting back to my form, getting back in my rhythm. I got back up to my 50%, 60%. But then again, I left for a summer camp. So that was another week gone without being able to shoot. When I got back, it was like, okay, I gotta get used to this again. Same thing happened. Got into my groove. And this was midway through July. And by then, I was shooting 300 a day, most days. And I think a couple days I shot 400. One day I shot 400. And my wrist, after all this, my wrist was just hurting. Which was an issue, like you'll see coming up, that wrist, it was an issue for me. Because if your wrist is hurting, because that's how you shoot, you flick the ball. If you watching my shots right now, that's how you flick it with my left. I'm left-handed, and so that was starting to build. And then I was gone at camp again towards the last week of July, and I came back, and and I was completely messed up. My percentages dropped down to into 30s. One time I even got 20. And then I decided, one day I shot 500 a day. 500 a day. And I was at 7,000 around, 7,000. I shot 500 a day. And after that, my wrist, and I was like not making any of these 500. It was terrible. But my wrist was really bugging me, and my form was off. My form had kind of like gone away, so I had to come back to it. So what I would do is first I would record my shots, I would record my form, and then see what I can do to fix it, because I needed to get back on track. Like, I was making 40-30%. It wasn't good. So I recorded my form, and I fixed some stuff, and there was a drill where you just do with your left hand or your shooting hand. You just go shoot it with only that hand from like 2 feet away from the basket and try to swish it. And then just do a perfect follow through. Hold your follow through. That helped me too. I did that a bunch. And eventually I got back to my rhythm. 50% most days. And yeah, and my only troubles really was that wrist and my form. From all that time being gone, it didn't help with my form. But I will tell you, my goals, when I decided I wanted to do 10,000, I thought I was going to improve like crazy. I thought I was going to go from my 30% first day to like 70% shooter. But like I say, and you'll see my stats, I'll show my stats later. 50% usually, 40. And I'm looking at NBA players, and a good shooter will shoot 40% in a game, and that's in game time stuff. And I'm wide open shooting. I should be shooting really good. But what I learned, it's so hard after you get to 50, 60, like 55%. It's like to get from 40 to 50% is like easy, but to get from 50 to 55 is like 10 times harder. It's so much harder after you get to 50 to get better, much better. It's kind of like a plateau, and that's kind of what I did. But I did get more comfortable with my shot. Alright guys, now coming up on your screen, you're going to see my final couple shots. These are my final 20. Here you go. Alright guys, this is the last 20 to 10,000. Here we go.
More. Woo.
10,000. There we go. Well, there's 10,000. Wow. Hey, and I made my last shot. Alright guys, now I'm gonna go over, and we're gonna head over to some stats. I'm gonna show you guys some charts and some stats that I made of my 3-point shots from the different spots and how many I really made in total. Alright guys, here are some stats. Alright, this is my totals. Alright. 100 of these. As you can see, 100. In total, the amount, my average is 52.4. That's how many I made each 100. Each 100. All of these are out of 100. And then this one, this is how many in total I made. So I made 5,242. And my goal was 4,000. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Now my chart. Here is my chart. This is how I went. Started at 30. Now, my best I ever did was 70. 70 this one time. And then a bunch of low ones. I got 68 once. 65, as I said in here. 60, 50, 56, 60, 60, 53, 59, 60, 45. In here. And this is mostly in the month of June. Before I left for my vacation and camps right here. This is my 50-60 zone that I kind of stayed in. But like, but then afterwards, this is the when I left, got back, I think, and then I had a 51. It took me a bit to get back, but then I got back to my 60s. And then afterwards, I left for camp, and this is me. 45, 48, 54, 57, 55, blah, blah. But then the worst downfall I had 51, I left for camp, came back, got 35, 47, 35, 36, 32, 41, 39. Right in here, that's when my form started getting bad, and I had a bunch of issues with my shot, and my wrist was really hurting a lot. But like I said, in the last month, in August, I've been working my way back up. I got to 55, 57, getting in that 56, 55, 50, 55 range. And then my last rack, I made 52. And this is all out of 100. Now let's see from the left corner. The left corner, I made 964, and my average was 9.5. My highest I ever got was 15, and I got 15 twice from there. My lowest was 3, and I got that twice, and I got that 4 times. The left wing, I had 1,059, average was 10.2. My best was 14, quite a few times. Lowest was 3, and this was an interesting spot. It was probably the biggest one of change because I went from 3 to 6 to 4, from 4 to 13 in a matter of 1, from 5 to 10, from 7 to 13, from 7 to 12, from 7 to 12, from 5 to 10 to 8 to 10. Yeah. So this was probably one of the most changed. Now this is the top of the key. Oops. Top of the key. 7. Oh, what am I doing? I thought that was my total 7. 1,053. What did I have in my left wing? 1,059. So I had a little less from the top, but it was the same average because I shot 100 from there and 104 from the left wing, because I did extra at one spot and did less at another spot, just to mix it up. Now the graph here shows insane, like I got 1 twice, 2 in a row. I got 1, and then I got 17. 17's the best I've ever done. 17 and 1's the worst I've ever done. So this is like it's very consistent. Like, look, 10, 10. This line right here, I feel like consistency. But then it's also inconsistent. It also went from 1 to 5 to 12 to 14. Like, what? How do you go from 1 to 14 in only 3 different things? It's crazy. I ended off my last one, I got 10. But like this one and last one, about 50%. A little less than 50% now to right wing. 1,074 and 10.8 average. So almost a 50. This is about a 54%. 54%. And the most I've made here so far. The best I ever made was 17, and that was yesterday while I'm filming. That was Saturday. The second day, the second to last day of the thing, I got 17. It was crazy, and I got it. Some of that stuff you saw in the footage of me shooting, and the lowest I got was 5. So this is the best, like the best one probably, I would say, because I got 16 4 times, 15 once. This was probably 15 twice, and then 17. This one's probably one of the best one, right wing. I remember I started off really good from this spot, and then when I got that low spot, and then it's kind of like split in half, and then over here is not as good as over here. But I remember I used to be like super good from this area, and then it kind of like switched for some reason. Alright, now the right corner, the last spot, I made a total of 1,007 and 10.3 average. So the right wing I made the most from. Second most was the top. The left wing. So the wings I made the most, then the top. And then the right corner. Now the left corner was my worst by far. Alright, from here, the right corner, my lowest was 2. And yeah, this one does not look like a good one. For some reason, it does not. But yeah, I guess it is the second worst. But it was very consistent in here. Consistent. 10 to 13. And then it kind of picked up a little bit. I got a 16. And then it kind of slew down. Started mostly 10s. I see a lot of 10s. Alright. So, as you guys saw in the clips of me shooting, I like to shoot. So this isn't all just like stand still. But I would do like step backs, side steps, run into a shot, pull up, stuff like that. So it wasn't just standing still like a free throw. It was a bunch of different situations so I could get ready for game time. I would also, most of the time I listen to music, but I found that distracts me a little bit. And I wouldn't, you gotta be focused in when you're shooting. Focused. You're supposed to, when you shoot, you're supposed to look at the rim, where you're aiming at the rim the entire time, hold your follow through until the ball hits the rim. Every time. But some of that times, like especially when my form got bad, that one I wouldn't do that. And I think some of that kind of messed up my consistency. Now, listening to music, I think distracted me, and it kind of, I feel like it made me prepare for a loud crowd. A crowd that's distracting. A crowd that's always making noise in a game. So, I think that was good for me. And will say, I thought I was going to get up to 70%. I didn't. I got 70% once. But Steph Curry in practice, wide open, just shooting around, he probably makes 80 to 90% of his shots. Like, he's insane. But in game, like he said, I think his best he's ever shot was 45% for a season. So I was kind of like a little sad. Like, I thought I was going to be 70%, but I didn't really get there. But now that I know, okay, 50% is kind of a plateau, 50-55, then, so now I know that for the future, and we'll see what happens next summer. But you just know, if you guys want to do something like this, that's kind of where it cuts out on, is 50-55, unless you started off, like, unless you're a really good shooter like Steph Curry. I think he's practiced, obviously, a ton, but I think most of his talent is God-given, and it's not, like, it's more natural stuff that he just can just do it. And like me, I've never been a really good shooter, so it was kind of hard for me. But yeah, I've done a lot of work, and this is 10,000. This is my little story, 10,000, my summer project. Thank you for watching. I hope this inspires you to try something like this. Know that it is possible. You can do these big things. It just takes some work and dedication. And this was fun, but I will say I definitely got past a like. And what I mean by that is I like playing basketball, but I didn't like doing this. I liked it at the first 4,000. I liked it. But once I got to 6,000, I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go shoot my 200 today, my 300 today. So I would say it is a dedication. And I had to do this almost every day. Except the days I was gone, obviously. So it was a lot of work. Thank you for watching. And make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Goodbye.